Good morning, everyone. It's Sal Stretford Post. How you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. We're up early in the morning, Break of Dawn, and we're here to bring you the live Manchester United news as the merry-go-round of the Manchester United transfer market gets into gear. Of course, it's been a very crazy transfer window already, with names flying around left, right, and centre. Every day there's a different name. Every day is a person we should sign. Every day there's a new gem that we should be looking at. And I'm going to bring you all the names as much as I can of all the players that we need. We're gonna sign this season. So let's keep it locked and let's get straight into it. Now, Manchester United, of course, have signed two players so far, which is Xerxes and Euro, of course, which are great signings, good for the future. And it's the kind of mentality that Man United want to go after, which is the young players, which is the youth players looking to the future. And Manchester United have really been into that this new Ineos regime have really been into that this last few months. Of course, when Ineos took over, they had an ambition to bring in younger players, to bring in a new, fresher approach, and to look to the future. And this is what we've been doing so far in the transfer market. Now, not least with us raiding an Arsenal youngster who has been brilliant in the youth teams, who has been absolutely on fire in the youth teams. And Manchester United does not underestimate this transfer. Chido Obi Martin from Arsenal looks likely to come to Manchester United to join the project at Manchester United. He has not accepted a new contract at Arsenal. He's absolutely on fire in the youth team, and Manchester United could bring him in within the next few days, all being well. Of course, he's an Arsenal youngster. Arsenal won't be happy with that. Arsenal will be desperate to keep the young player. But Manchester United look like they may seize the opportunity on him not signing a contract, and he could come and join the best project there is in English football right now. That's what it's about. Bringing in the best young talent, bringing in the best players in the world. That's what we're about. And bringing through our own talent as well. That's what it's all about. Manchester United bringing in the best young talent. A good striker. Some compared him, I believe, or was it Ronaldinho? They compared him to him. There's people, murmurs within the last year or so, that they're so excited about his plan. He could have broke into the first team at Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal had a strong squad, so in another world, he might have broke into the Arsenal side at such a young age. But he obviously he's being compared to people like Ronaldinho, Yamin Lamal. Of course, he's been compared to as well. So it is a very interesting one to look at, because obviously Manchester United do like to pick up the best young players, and he could be one for the future. So we should look out for that. And I urge you to go and check him out on YouTube. Of course, many have seen him play, but he is a very decent player. So check him out on YouTube and let me know your thoughts. And it is a good move. We have to think about the future as well. So Chido Obi Martin could be a Manchester United player pretty soon from Arsenal. Young player, I believe he's 16 years old. So he's one for the future and one we should be looking at. I believe he's one of the next big strikers in the game. So it's exciting times. It's an exciting move. I like those sort of moves because obviously they're for the future, a bit like Garnacho was, when we signed him from Atletico Madrid. He was one of the next big things, and look at him now, smashing it for Argentina. I've got something to say about Garnacho as well in regards to him and Messi, but I'm going to leave that to a bit later. Now, Manchester United have inquired about Martin Zubimendi. Martin Zubimendi, of course, is the Spanish international who replaced Rodri during the England game. A very good player, very versatile player, midfield player, attacking midfield player, can play a number of positions, and he can score a goal as well. A very good, decent player, 25 years old, so he's kind of all right. He's kind of in the Ineos little age group, so it could be an option for Man United to sign Zubimendi. Of course, Man United are after a number of targets this season, so they've been inquiring about a number of players. A lot of the time, they have been talking to clubs and inquiring about certain players. So they approach a club and ask them how much is it for Zubamendi, for example. So if Zubamendi, who plays for Real Sociedad, if so Real Sociedad say, oh, it's going to be 50 million for Zubamendi, we'll say, no, we give you 47 million, and then we'll come to an agreement. And whatever deal comes first is the deal that goes over the line. It seems like it's that way. So Man United will have their priority players, and then they'll approach the club, and then if the club say we want this much, we say, okay, we give you this much. If they agree on that player, that could be the player who is snatched through the door. They're doing that with a number of players, of course, and I'm going to go on to another player that Manchester United are doing that with. But Zubamendi is also a very experienced player, a player that, of course, is a Spanish international, and plays for Real Sociedad, their best player, of course. So it's a decent player to look at, and number one that's come off the lips of the last couple of days. I mentioned it about 3 weeks ago. Zubamendi is on Manchester United's radar. If you go back, I mentioned it a couple of times in regards to Zubamendi. So don't be surprised if a signing like Zubamendi does come through the door, one you don't expect to come through the door, but he does. So that could be very, very interesting indeed. Now, Manchester United legend Paul Parker has been speaking on national TV in regards to Manchester United and who we should sign. He quoted to saying that Manchester United should go after Adam Wharton. Of course, Adam Wharton is an England international. He's surprisingly called up to the England squad this season. Currently plays for Crystal Palace, is 19 years old, I believe, and is a very, very promising prospect. Of course, Manchester United have gone after young English players. The next big thing, of course, they like to get their hands on players who are the future, especially if they're English and they play in the Premier League. So Manchester United could go after Adam Wharton. Don't be surprised if Manchester United make a bid for Adam Wharton. Adam Wharton, of course, will demand a huge fee. Of course, he's English. He plays in the Premier League at Crystal Palace. So you're looking at quite a hefty fee there. It could be at least £60 million. In regards to Adam Wharton, I like the player. I think he's a very good player. A bit raw, but is it a priority position that we need? Do we need a player like Adam Wharton? Do we need a player of his caliber to come in now, at this day and age? I'm not too sure. I believe there's many. I believe if we did sign an attacking midfielder, a creative midfielder, a midfielder, Adam Wharton wouldn't be highest on my list, but he is a player that has a future and is a player that is obviously impressed England for them to call him to the England squad. Crazy, isn't it? So soon in his career. So we have Kobe Mainoo in that kind of position. So Adam Wharton has been rallying cries from Paul Parker, ex-Manchester United player, of course, ex-Manchester United right-back, of course, saying that Manchester United should sign Adam Wharton. What are your thoughts about Adam Wharton? What do you think about Adam Wharton? Do you think Manchester United should sign Adam Wharton? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Drop some comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash a like, guys. Don't forget. Now, another transfer that is on the lips of Manchester United and Manchester United circus, it is Xavi Simons. Of course, his name has been mentioned before. It's been mentioned on my show a few times. Xavi Simons could leave PSV, and if he leaves PSV, it is likely that he could go to one of the elite clubs, which could be Manchester United. Manchester United have inquired about the 21-year-old attacking midfielder who impressed for Holland during the European Championships. In my opinion, in my humblest opinion, he was Holland's best player during that tournament. Of course, scored that fantastic goal against England, as we all remember. A very creative, very quick, player who's versatile, can play up the front line, the front three, can even play midfield behind the Bruno role. He can even play that. So a very, very good player, a very decent player. Would I call him generational? I'm not too sure. I think he's a good player. He's one to look at in the future. Xavi Simons could be a Manchester United player if of course he leaves PSV, which it looks likely he's going to do. How much would he receive? How much money would PSV receive for Xavi Simons? It remains to be seen, but I think we can get him for about 40 to 50 million. If we're lucky, if we play our cards right, 40 to 50 million will be a great fee for him. Of course, he's only 21 and he's already an international, like a mainstay in the Dutch international team, of course. So he's an exciting player that we could be looking at. But are we looking at him now? We've made inquiries about Xavi Simons. We've inquired about the fee. And of course, that doesn't mean we've signed him or we've agreed a fee, but it does mean that we are looking for an attacking midfielder. Is he a priority player though? This is the key. Is Xavi Simons a priority player? Would you call him a priority? I say that what Ineos are doing, they're approaching players, they're getting players ready. So when we sign next player, which I think will be Ugarte, I think he will be the next player through the door. Hopefully within the next week or so, Ugarte will be the player who plays for Man United, and then we're going to go after another player. It may be in the different positions, and Xavi Simons could be that player. He could be the one who signs for Man United in an attacking sense. Manchester United, of course, are also pondering the possibility of Anthony leaving the club. Anthony could leave the club for a substantial fee, we hope. We hope we recoup a bit of that 90 million that we paid for Anthony. Whoever wants to sign him, of course, they'll happily take him off our hands, we hope. Because Anthony hasn't quite worked out for Anthony. He works his socks off. He's a good pro. Of course, he had domestic issues which came to play last season, and it may have affected his form. But in my opinion, he's a bit predictable. He's a bit too predictable, in my humblest opinion. I don't know what you think about that. If we sold Anthony to a West Ham, for example, to an Everton, to a Newcastle, what would you think about that? Would you be happy about that? As I said, in my opinion, he's too predictable. He cuts in, he shoots, he cuts in, he shoots. We need a winger who's going to create more, score more goals, in my opinion. Of course, he hasn't done that bad, not as bad as people think. A lot of people think he had a bad first season. He had a very good first season, but the second season was poor. I just don't think he has the dynamic element that we need in a Man United team. I think we need a player who can score, who's versatile, can play in various positions, can cross, and basically is quick as well. I'm not saying Anthony isn't quick, but he's just a bit leggy, in my opinion, and I just don't think he fits the mold of a club that wants to challenge for the league title potentially. Of course, we need to be looking at that title now. We need to stop with this fourth place business, this comfort zone of the fourth place. We aim for the fourth place. That is not what Manchester United are about. Manchester United should be challenging for titles. I believe they should be challenged for titles. That's my humblest opinion here on that. Now, there's another player that you may have not heard of. His name is Richard Rios. Of course, he's a Colombian international, currently playing for Palmeiras. He's a midfielder. Could be a cheaper option for Manchester United. 24 years old and played very well at the Copa America. Is a decent player. And Manchester United have been looking in the South American market for players. Richard Rios, of course, is a versatile player, play midfield, can play in attacking midfield, can play defensive midfield. So he's a decent player that Man United should look at, and I like this type of deal because it's players you wouldn't really otherwise know about. But Richard Rios is on Manchester United's radar, and Richard Rios, of course, I would urge you to go to YouTube and check him out. Of course, if you haven't heard his name. Very good player, only 24 years old, undiscovered talent, of course, and it looks like Manchester United have got their scouting gear in order in regards to South American football, which is really good because there's a lot of talent out there for a good price. So Richard Rios could be an alternative to an expensive option. We cannot afford to get any transfers over the line. There's a player like Richard Rios who could come in and who could do a job at Manchester United, of course, for a cheaper fee, a much cheaper fee. It's the type of player that a Benfica would look at, for example, an Ajax would look at, even a West Ham sometimes in these days, day and age will look at. We need to get these talented players through the door early, so in a couple of years we're not buying them for £80 million. Of course, he's one that hasn't really been mentioned much in the media, but I've heard quite a few rumours over here in Italy about Richard Rios, and Richard Rios could be a Manchester United player. You never know about that. Now, a little bit more news about Ugarte. Ugarte, of course, is in talks now with Manchester United, due for talks, I believe, today or Monday. In regards to Manchester United, things are moving very quickly in regards to that deal, but Manchester United have to offload one player, whether that's Casemiro, whether that's McTominay. Manchester United have to sell one player. In my opinion, I feel we should sell McTominay. I think McTominay has had a good run, has done well for Manchester United in regards to his talent output. He's punched above his weight, so to speak. He's done the best he could, but he's just not quite at that level who's going to take us to the promised land of where we want to go, don't we? We want to be title challenging. We want to be in the Champions League. We want to be challenging for the Champions League. We don't just be in the Champions League. We want to be going for the major honours because we're Manchester United. We're the biggest club in the world and we should be going for major honours. McTominay, of course, is a Manchester United youth team player who was brought through by Jose Mourinho, played a lot of games, and he gave his all. He gives his all every single game. and respect to that. Had a good performance in the FA Cup final, but now maybe at 27, it's probably time to cash in on Scott McTominay and get the cash for him to put towards a player like Ugarte. And it's time we look to the future. How do you feel about that in regards to McTominay? Would you sell McTominay or would you sell Casemiro? Let me know in the comments what you would do. Guys, please don't forget to smash a like and subscribe. Guys, absolute legends for joining me this morning. Absolute the best of the elites. That's what you are. So as well as Ugarte, another name that has been rumbling around for the last months, it seems, is Matthias de Ligt. Manchester United's interest in Matthias de Ligt has eased as they have now signed Lenny Yoro, of course, is a right-sided centre-back. As I was stating yesterday on yesterday's show, Manchester United are in the market for a left-sided centre-back. They have a right-sided centre-back, now they're in for a left-sided centre-back. Manchester United want to get their house in order, so to speak, in regards to the structure of the team, and having a left-sided centre-back is one of the priorities in the Manchester United transfer merry-go-round that be. So Jared Braithwaite, of course, is high on Manchester United's list. Of course, Everton's potential buyers, of course, have pulled out of the deal, so it's left Everton in a bit of a pickle. So Everton will need to sell some of their players. Of course, they were very smug when we didn't buy Jared Braithwaite, made comments about Lenny Euro, that we paid so much for Lenny Euro. How comes we paid this much for Lenny Euro, etc. Putting their nose where it doesn't belong. And now look, some people, no one wants to buy them, and now they have to sell players. Now they look a bit silly. So Manchester United could come in with another offer for Jared Braithwaite. They could even come in with a less offer for Jared Braithwaite. So that is one to keep an eye on, one to look at, because at the end of the day, Jared Braithwaite is a very good player, Premier League experience, even European experience with PSV Eindhoven. So that is definitely one to keep a watch out for. Manchester United, of course, have been in the market for a number of players. I believe that Ugarte will be the next one through the door. Good morning, Tony. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you're well. You're the champ. You're here this morning with me. We're up bright and early. It is early in the morning here, 8 a.m. something, and we're bringing you the news live. The earliest, the first, right? So don't listen to the copycats. We're here every morning, every single morning, for you to bring you the news live. So basically, let me recap on everything. Martin Zubimendi, who a player I mentioned a few weeks ago that could be on Manchester United's radar, has heated up somewhat. Manchester United have inquired about the Real Sociedad midfielder, and hopefully can get in for a decent fee. I would say someone like Zubimendi should be going for 35 to 45 million pounds, euros, should I say. So Manchester United are looking at Zubimendi. They're also looking at Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons is also a very, very good player, younger than Zubimendi, of course, was what Holland's best player, I believe, and he would also be a fantastic signing for Manchester United. In my opinion, we need to get these transfers through the door first. We need to get these defenders through the door first. We need to work on our defence, then move on to midfield. Midfield and defence is the most important position in the Man United lineup at the moment. That's what's important. We get the players that we need desperately through the door first, and then we move on to next players. And then we go on from there, of course. So we move on to that. And of course, Xavi Simons scored against England. He scored that great goal against England, which they lost 2-1 in the end. But Xavi Simons is obviously high on Manchester United's radar. But firstly, Manchester United will get Ugarte through the door. I believe they will get Ugarte, but they must sell a player first. Manchester United are also looking at another right back. Manchester United, if they do offload Wan-Bissaka, they will be looking for another right back. Wan-Bissaka and the interest for Wan-Bissaka has eased somewhat in regards to West Ham, who West Ham were after Wan-Bissaka for a little bit and then pulled out of the deal somewhat because I don't know whether they can't afford the transfer fee. I don't know what it is. But it's looking like a lot of these Premier League clubs are quite broke at the moment. A lot of these Premier League clubs are not buying anyone. You're not really seeing anyone being bought. This seems a bit weird to me. It seems a bit eerie. It seems a bit echoey, whatever you want to call it. It seems a bit crazy that none of these Premier League teams are buying anyone. And it just seems to me that, we're the only ones who are doing business. Is there a memo we're not reading? Are we going to be bitten on our backside sometime and told, oh, you fined, you're going to be fined? It's just great. isn't it? Really, in all honesty, in all seriousness, it's great that Manchester United are signing all these players, and all our rivals are just there moaning on TikTok and moaning on whatever network that they're on. They're on there talking about us, which is great news. Of course, we want our rivals to talk about us, and we want our rivals to be bitter. That's what it's about. Manchester United signing all these players. Already got Xerxes through the door. Already got Euro through the door. So Greenwood is out the door as well. Mason Greenwood was introduced to Marseille yesterday. Obviously, it's going to be a tough time for him over there. And there's a circle of Marseille fans who are not happy with the signing, and some were protesting at the signing. Of course, he's a young player. I think they should give him a chance, and I think they should just move on from what happened. Of course, it's the past now. We cannot change the past. He's now a Marseille player. I'm not going to speak too much about Marseille, but at the end of the day, they need to accept Mason Greenwood is signed. Mason Greenwood is a great player. You've got a generational talent. Well done. And just look after him and realize that people make mistakes. That's what I would say to Marseille, that enjoy it. He's going to score goals. He's going to create goals. You're going to like him. You're going to love him. Just make sure you look after him and make sure the elements around him are not going to destroy the player. That would be my opinion, of course, because he comes from the youth team. He's one of us, and we should be careful on how we wish bad on players and how we hope they foul, and etc. 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 He's made a mistake. Let's move on from that. He's a Marseille player now. He's out of our hands, and that's what it's all about. It's not. We need to move on with ourselves. We have our own issues, of course. We've got one of the biggest seasons in our history, in my opinion, because obviously it's a new beginning. Obviously, we've got the Ineos 27%, and we've got these players coming in. And obviously, Jim Ratcliffe is going to want to impress highly. Of course, he's going to want to impress the Manchester United faithful, and he's going to want to win trophies straight away, and he's going to want to really, really push beyond and further and do better than some fans expect. As I said, I feel we're going to have an amazing season next season. I think Ten Hag is going to shock a lot of people. He's going to make a lot of people eat their own words. I believe he's going to challenge for the title, and I said it, and I'm going to say it again. I believe that we will shock a lot of people next season, and he will gain the trust of those Ten Hag outers that are still Ten Hag outers deep down, still making little murmurs, of course. Now, Manchester United will play Glasgow Rangers tonight in regards to the friendly games. Manchester United lost their first friendly game 1-0, of course, to Rosenborg, 93rd minute. Depleted side, youth team was played, and there was an overreaction within the fan base, of course. People talking about patterns of play, people talking about, we didn't create a chance and blah, blah, blah. It was only Rosenborg and it was a friendly, and I was quite surprised by the shock. I understand that you have to look at a game and say, look, we have to improve on that. We have to improve on this. We need this signing. We need this players in. None of our signings have come in. None of the players that are mostly playing last season have come in yet, because they were either the Copa America or they were at the European Championships. So it's my suggestion would be just don't worry too much. Calm down a little bit. It's not that bad. It's not going to be as bad as you think. All right. It's a friendly game, and at the end of the day, friendlies are basically just to fix up sharpness and to obviously see who's the next one to break through out of that team. At the moment, VTech impressed me a lot. I'm a big fan of Harry Amas. Of course, Harry Amas struggled a little bit, but he's a left back as well. Luke Shaw is a big fan of Harry Amas. He's a left back, and I believe we need a left back. So if we don't sign a left back, then Harry Amas should be brought into that fold and to start being drifted into that team, in my opinion. Now, speaking of left backs, Manchester United still have Kadioglu and still have Gutierrez on their radar, but it is seen to be not a priority right now. Manchester United want to get the Ugarte deal through the door, then they will move on to the next position, whether that is Xavi Simons, whether that is Zubimendi, or whether that is a left back or right back. Manchester United have a number of positions, of course, that they need, especially if they're going to be offloading a lot of players to various clubs. This is a crazy situation for Man United, of course, to be in. As a Man United fan, over the last few years, we haven't been in for multiple players. We've been in for one player, and we've actually just spent the whole summer chasing that player. That's why I don't want De Jong at all. I don't think we should sign De Jong. I think he's a good player, but I think the ship has sailed in regards to that. I don't want players who disrespected us, and he blatantly disrespected us last season. So, and the season before, I believe it was. So, I think it is important that we move on and we move on to different targets. I don't want us to be chasing De Jong, and I don't want a player who wants us as a second chance, a second base, basically player who didn't want to play for us at the end of the day and probably still doesn't want to play for us, but has no choice to play for us if Barcelona want to get rid of him. We don't want anyone's leftovers, of course. We're not Oliver Twist. We don't need anyone's leftovers. We're not here begging with our plate. We're Manchester United now. We're run differently. Things are going to get different around here. We're going to shake up the place so bad that these teams are going to be so jealous and so envious of us. We're going to make it back to when it was a 1999, as Prince once said. That's what we're going to do, and that's what we're aiming to do. Bringing the respect back, bringing that fear back. And I say fear because Old Trafford is another one that we have to make a fortress again. Old Trafford has not been a fortress over the last, let's say, 15 years, of course. It hasn't been as noisy, it hasn't been as enthusiastic, hasn't been as intimidating as it used to be. I hope next season it is, and it is intimidating because the home fans and the home games are very important too. So once we get those signings through the door, when the season starts, we need to give them a rapturous reception. We need them to come out the ground against Fulham and scare the living daylights out of Fulham, intimidate the living daylights out of Fulham. And let's go there and let's grab a win, a convincing win, and we move on to the next games. We, of course, got Liverpool early in the season, the next season. So obviously the Liverpool game is very, very important. We obviously played Liverpool, of course, on the Ten Hag's first season, very early in the season, and we won the game, and it built up the season. It really gave us momentum for that season. So if we can beat Liverpool in the first games of the season, one of the first games of the season, it will set us up, and I think we can go on a very, very good run. Of course, other teams now at the moment, it is early in the transfer window. Some may say it's early, some may say it's late. Pre-season has come, pre-season is here, and we're signing players. Many teams are not signing players. So at the moment, this looks like a prime opportunity for Man United to do something, to challenge and to really take advantage of the moment and basically surprise a lot of people next season and go after the league title, where we belong, which we belong, who we belong. That is our title, and we should be going after it next season. Of course, we're catching these teams unaware, catching these teams with the tail between their legs. That's what it's about, and I believe we can do that. I believe we will do that, of course. So let's wait and see, and let's be enthusiastic about the season. Lots of things to come, of course, in regards to transfers. Lots of players to come. Lots of 2 players are already in. 2 players to be excited about, of course, as well. So we have to be very, very enthusiastic. In my opinion, we do need a couple of more defenders. If a defender goes out the door, it looks like Lindelof could be leaving Manchester United. There's a number of interested parties in Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Fenerbahce is one of them, of course. Jose Mourinho wants Lindelof at Manchester United, of course, played under Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho was the man who signed Lindelof at Manchester United. So he could be going to Fenerbahce to play under Jose Mourinho, which will be decent for him, decent in his career. And of course, he gets on well with Jose Mourinho. So best of luck to them and best of luck to him if he does leave. But if he does leave, Manchester United do need to bring in another defender, maybe 2 defenders. We've got Euro, of course, but Varane has left. So I would say Euro is Varane's replacement. And now we have to sign a left-sided centre-back and a right-sided centre-back. We also need a left-back. So Kodioglu, Gutierrez are very important. Bringing in De Ligt is important as well, but rumours is that Manchester United's interest in De Ligt has eased. Bayern Munich are playing hardball, and Bayern Munich don't want to negotiate a deal with us in regards to what we are offering them. We're offering them a deal worth around 40 million euros with incentives and add-ons. I believe they want about 52 straight up. So Manchester United are not going to be paying that kind of money for De Ligt. Of course, De Ligt has not really set the world alight. He didn't set the world alight at Juventus. He hasn't set the world alight at Bayern Munich. So we're not going to sign a player who hasn't set the world alight. A player shouldn't be increasing in price. A player should be decreasing in price when a player doesn't do well. This is the whole point I was saying about Ugarte. Ugarte was purchased by PSG for around 52 million euros, of course. Now they want about 57 million euros, which is an absolute joke, to be honest with you, considering he's been at PSG a year and it hasn't worked out for him. So naturally, and in theory, they should be putting the price down, not up. It's a bit crazy the way these teams are running and the way these teams are desperate for money, especially a team like PSG. You would think they have money, but I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to raise enough money. There are rumours even that Ugarte could go for 70 million. So they're putting a 70 million euro price tag on Ugarte. It's an absolute joke. It's basically saying that they want us to pay for João Neves. Now, João Neves is another one I wanted to talk about. If PSG are playing hardball with Ugarte, of course it's disappointing because Ugarte has agreed personal terms with Manchester United. If Manchester United do not agree a deal with PSG, Manchester United should, in my opinion, go after João Neves of Benfica. João Neves is a fantastic young player who will end up signing for one of the big clubs, i.e. Manchester City, for example. Manchester United have inquired about João Neves, have placed a 52 million and 59 million euro bid on the table, which was promptly rejected. Of course, João Neves has a release clause of around 100 million euros. So Manchester United have not reached that level of the price that they are looking for. Manchester United have offered 50 to 59 million. I think if we do not sign Ugarte, I think we should put all our chips in one basket and sign João Neves. Of course, we could still sign both, as I quoted yesterday. If things go well, if Casemiro leaves, if McTominay leaves, Manchester United could quite possibly sign both players. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. There's a lot of shocking news coming out of Manchester United, a lot of big news coming out of Manchester United. And I believe that we will shock the Premier League once again, as we did with Euro, choosing Man United over Real Madrid. And he chose Man United over Real Madrid because he likes the project. He's excited about the project, the future of Manchester United. We sold the project to him and it's worked. Let's hope we get that project into fruition and we start bringing in more players and bringing in more players who can help us challenge for the title. What do you think, guys? Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash a like. Don't forget to comment. Clip the video if you can as well. Anything you like, to post it on YouTube, post it on your social media accounts. I will tweet, I will repost it. I will give the props to whoever has done it. And the best, obviously, videos I will post every day for you guys and give you all the props that you require. So Manchester United, just to recap, Chido Obi Martin, a young Arsenal player, of course, played in the youth team for Arsenal last season, the last couple of years, is a very, very exciting prospect. Scored a lot of goals in that level, has been compared to the likes of Lamine Yamal and Ronaldinho and things like that. You're going to get that, but at the end of the day, Manchester United have inquired about this player. This player has not signed a contract, so it seems like a prime opportunity for Manchester United to jump in and grab the player and get the next big thing, of course. And that's what Manchester United do. Manchester United look at the next big youngster coming through the ranks, as they did with Garnacho, and he's a player that could come in and could quite easily make his debut within the next year or two, because he's that good. He's a very good player. I would suggest to you guys to look at the YouTube, have a look at this player. Goodness me, he's good. So if we do sign this player, he's one for the future and one that I would be excited about, because it sticks to our philosophy, who we are: youth, courage, success, doesn't it? And that's what we're looking at. Another player I was talking about earlier was Adam Wharton. Adam Wharton, of course, is a Crystal Palace midfielder who played for England in the European Championships. Well, didn't even get a game, but was picked into the squad at his young age at such a short time. So he's obviously a very talented player. Plays for Crystal Palace, impressed last season at Crystal Palace. Paul Parker, which is a Manchester United legend, of course, played at right back for Man United during the first season we won the league in 1993, of course, is rumoured to be saying, well, he has actually said that Manchester United should sign Adam Wharton and should go after a player like Adam Wharton. What do you think about that? Should Man United go after a player like Adam Wharton? Do you think that would be a good signing for Manchester United? Do you think Adam Wharton should be coming to, at his age, to Manchester United? Of course, he would request a high transfer fee. It would be very expensive. Obviously, playing in the Premier League, you have the British tax as well, so it's going to be a very expensive deal to do. My opinion would be, if we signed a player like Adam Wharton, is very good. It sticks to our philosophy. It's a good signing. But at the moment, I don't think we have the money to sign an Adam Wharton. Of course, Crystal Palace will be looking for £60 million for a player of that caliber, 50 to 60 million. Now they could throw he plays for England thing at our faces, and they could say he's going to have be around the fee of £60 million, which would be too expensive at the moment. And at his age, it would be too expensive, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about that. Adam Wharton is a player, of course, is very good, very talented, and under Ten Hag's stewardship, could develop into a very, very, very good player. But we also have to remember we have Kobe Mainoo there, and Kobe Mainoo plays in the same position. We cannot hamper Kobe Mainoo's development, but of course building a squad is very, very important. But we have to also be careful of the young players, not to sign players who are not ready yet. Let's let him play in the season, one more season, in my opinion. Let him play in the Premier League one more season. Let's see how he does, and then we go on from there. Because at the end of the day, buying Walton, player like Adam Walton would represent a huge risk, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about that. Let me know in your comments below what you think about Adam Walton, another name that is on the conveyor belts of names at Manchester United. So just enjoy it whilst we can, because we have a number of prospects and a number of transfer dealings that could occur, that rumours have been circulating, of course, over the last few months. And lots is going to happen, I'm sure. Lots of players in, lots of players out, I hope. So let me know who you want to sign, who should be our priority. I believe that Ugarte will be through the door very soon. He will be through the door next week, I believe. Of course, agreed a fee with Manchester United. No, not agreed, but agreed contract with Man United. Agreed a deal with Man United, a contract deal. So, of course, he wants to come to Man United, evidently. And the people in Uruguay, the media outlets across Uruguay, have said that he fits the mould perfectly for Manchester United. So he has obviously been convinced to go to Manchester United. Rumours are he's spoken to Cavani in regards to Manchester United, and Cavani has sung Manchester United's praises and said that he should sign for Manchester United and he should leave PSG. Of course, Cavani also played for PSG. So I would listen to Cavani if I was Ugarte. Ugarte obviously is a very good player, hasn't worked out for him quite at PSG. But obviously, as I've always said, life is multi-layered and you never know what can happen at a certain club. And he has probably not found the right club for himself. Manchester United look like being the right club for Ugarte. And that is the bottom line on that one. So, again, Manchester United are interested in Colombian international Richard Rios. Richard Rios is a midfield player, 24 years old, impressed at the Copa America. I like these sort of deals because these deals represent value in the market. They go for a cheaper price, a price that is much more realistic, of course, for the talent level. Remember when Brighton signed Caicedo and they ended up going to Chelsea? They made a huge profit on Caicedo, of course. We need to get our scouting order in line in regards to South American football, North American football, Central American football, CONCACAF. We have to do the whole lot, and we have to make sure that we look at the scouting market and we look at players who are the next big thing. Of course, Richard Rios is 24. He is not the young player, but he is a very, very capable player, currently playing for Palmeiras in midfield, and a very, very good player. If we signed him, we could probably pick him up for around 25 million euros, which will be an absolute snip. If we're going to look at players that are going to be 60, 70 million, if we cannot afford those players, it's better we look in the South American market, even the African market as well, and start getting our scouting order, our scouting gear in order, and start looking at players like Richard Rios, who plays for Colombia, is a Colombian international, and already very experienced for his young age of 24. I mentioned earlier in regards to De Ligt, Manchester United's interest in De Ligt has eased, of course. Manchester United have signed Lenny Euro, so Manchester United, and the right side of centre-back berth is not 100% priority right now. It is kind of second, pushed back to the queue. We've not left the race for De Ligt. We've not halted our interest in De Ligt. We will go back in for De Ligt, but at the moment, Manchester United are looking for a left-sided centre-back, a left-back, and potentially a right back. Of course, it is also Ugarte as well that we are looking at, of course, who could come in through the door. And once Ugarte is through the door, you will see Manchester United going after a Branthwaite, for example, or a left back, or Kadioglu, or Gutierrez. So at the moment, Manchester United are doing one deal at a time. They're getting deals done quickly. So that hopefully we can have Ugarte through the door so we can move swiftly on to the next deal and swiftly on to the next player who leaves the club as well. Greenwood leaving the club is a big weight off Manchester United's shoulders, of course, because Manchester United did not want the problems that it would bring next season in regards to the abuse he would have received. So that is a good deal for Manchester United for him to go to Marseille, and we wish him the best of luck, as I've said. Guys, don't forget to smash a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's very important if you guys can do that. If you guys could drop a comment as well down below, that'd be absolutely fantastic. You guys are absolute legends for joining me today. Tony, thank you so much for joining me this morning. You guys are legends. Keep the comments coming in, keep the likes coming in, keep the subscriptions coming in. There's a lot of news surrounding Manchester United, and this news will elevate as days go by. We will get new news every day, and every time a new piece of news comes out, I'll be here to bring you the news. I'll be here, right now, to bring you the news. No quoting Fatboy Slim. I'm not Fatboy Sal, but I'm going to bring you the news right today, tomorrow, the day after. Any news that breaks, I will be here bringing it to you, going live for you. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news. There's going to be a lot of breaking news. Maybe the news might slow down during the weekend. We might get some rumors today, but as it's the weekend, there will be less news. Of course, it's Saturday. So, but we don't forget, news does come out on a Saturday too. So keep it locked. I'll be with you whenever the news breaks with you guys, you dedicated guys. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are absolutely immense. You guys are the elitists. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash a like. Recap. Zubimendi could be on Manchester United's radar. Zubimendi, a 25-year-old, plays for Real Sociedad, could be signing for Manchester United. Manchester United inquired about Zubimendi. Chibo Obi Martin is an Arsenal youngster. The future of Arsenal, as many have said. Many Arsenal fans have praised this guy to the end, to the moon and back over the last year, saying that he's the next big thing. Obviously, it's good comparisons are going to come with Lamine Yamal, which has already happened. Adam Walton, Crystal Palace midfielder, of course, England international, has said to be gained the interest of Manchester United. Paul Parker, Manchester United legend, right back, has said Manchester United should go in for Adam Walton. And do I agree? I don't. I think not yet. Give him one more season. My opinion. Xavi Simons is the main player. I put a line under Xavi Simons because he's the main player that to keep an eye on. He could be the one attacking midfielder, right midfielder, stroke attacking midfielder who could sign for Manchester United. He's said to be very interested in Manchester United's project and would love a move to Manchester United. Of course, who wouldn't? We all love a move to Manchester United. So he's on the radar. Richard Rios, Palmeiras, Colombian international, 24 midfielder, could be on Manchester United's radar as well. If things don't work out with Ugarte, if things don't work out with João Neves, Manchester United could be in for a name like Richard Rios, players that are from South America, who are relatively unknown. Obviously, going to have to YouTube Richard Rios, very good player, played for Colombia, impressed at the Copa America. Manchester United also look like they will get Ugarte deal over the deal though, and Manchester United will get the Ugarte deal over the line next week. We hopefully will have big news on Ugarte next week, and we will obviously have a midfielder that we can be proud of in our midfield to complement the finesse of Kobe Mainoo with the dirtiness of Ugarte. That would be absolutely a colossus midfield. We're still in for João Neves, of course. Manchester United, of course, are going back with offers for João Neves. He's the next big thing, probably one of the biggest prospects in Europe, of course, who's available. Biggest prospect in Europe is, of course, Kobe Mainoo, in my opinion. But who's available is João Neves. If we pay the money, we get João Neves. João Neves has a release clause, of course, of around 100 million euros. So I would look at that and I would try and explore avenues on getting João Neves. De Ligt could be off the line at the moment. He's off the radar at the moment. Manchester United have put him at the back of the queue. Bayern Munich are playing hardball. So Manchester United have to move on from that at the moment and move on to the left-sided centre-back berth and the left back and the right back. And obviously Ugarte through the door first before they go back with De Ligt. Of course, De Ligt is desperate to come to Manchester United. Now he's desperate, right? Now he's desperate. Now he wants to come to Man United. Of course he does. He's not completely out of the woods, obviously, with Man United transfer. Man United could come in for another offer. But at the moment, it looks like we've called interest in De Ligt. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. You guys are absolute legends. Please don't forget to smash a like. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to click the video too. I'm Sal Warner. You guys are legends. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. If anything breaks, I'll be here. Break of dawning. Now I'm yawning. Time for a coffee. Peace.